There's the time when the sea gets rough. You got to be like the fishes in the sea. You got to hold on. Grab a sweat ball.
Pancho Man! Welcome again to day 3. Breakfast with Bob. We are brought to you by EAS, Myoplex, Hoka, One, Polar Velo Fix, Normatec, 4 Seasons, Hualalai, MEO Power Breather. Our next guest, Mr. Josh Amberger. First time here in Kona. How about a round of applause for Mr. Josh Amberger? How you doing, bud?
I'm good, thanks, Bob.
So heat's not going to bother you. You're from Australia. You're used to heat.
Yeah, pretty much. In fact, we're not only used to heat, but being in the southern hemisphere, we're literally going from summer to summer every year and missing the seasons because we're traveling to Europe and America and so forth.
Right. You like that?
It's pretty good.
So you've been doing this. You started in ITU?
Mm-hmm.
And when did you start? Did you grow up as more of a swimmer, runner, or just sort of fall into this triathlon thing?
Definitely grew up as a swimmer. Yeah, they put us in the water pretty young in Australia. So I moved out of swimming when I was 14 and transitioned full-time into triathlon when I was 15 and was kind of fostered by the junior program under ITU and came through there.
Okay, and with ITU, so was the goal the Olympics?
I think passively, but I just loved competing and just seeing my development season after season. It's so hard when you're like 16 and 17 and just starting to race internationally, and the level is like so high that it seems like to go to the Olympics is like a decade away. And yeah, I kind of by the time I was 21, I was already racing halves. So
So you moved up, and did you find that going to that half distance was more enjoyable for you?
Yeah, definitely. I just I like the DIY nature of long distance racing, and it just kind of suited me and my personality a bit better to be racing long distance rather than being a part of a short distance team.
What was your first 70.3 or first longer distance race?
Well, the first 73 I was entered for was Syracuse in 2011. But my bike fell off the back of the car of my homestay when we were driving to the race, and the frame cracked clean through. So I actually didn't get to start that race. But my first actual start was Port Macquarie in 2011, a couple months later.
And how'd you do?
Well, I think I was 5th, so it was okay.
That's okay. Yeah. So when I look at this year, you went to South Africa, and you were, what, 18th or something like that. So you weren't very happy with that, I'm guessing.
No, definitely not.
But then training block, June 11th, Ironman Cairns at Pacific Championships, you're first and get a course record. Did that surprise you?
I knew my fitness was like really good leading into Cairns, so to actually win it, I wasn't surprised. Maybe to get a course record in a time like 8:02 on a course in Cairns, that was quite surprising. But we were able to put together like a really solid sort of 8 weeks of training leading into Cairns, which is what we didn't get leading into South Africa. So
right,
yeah.
Well, and then early in the year, you were second in Dubai, and you're talking about, I think, Javier Gomez, just a guy winning, so that's not bad. And had another 70.3 second, and another course record in Calgary. So this has been. Would you look at this as your best year?
Yeah, definitely, because it's been a year where I've won Olympic distance races, halves, and an Ironman race. So to be able to put together all those distances with wins, particularly in regional championships in Cairns, is really satisfying. And the triathletes I've always looked up to the most are the guys that are able to be adaptable throughout the formats and distances.
Well, if you look back, the Mark Allens and Greg Welch and folks like that, they sort of had to. There weren't that many races out there, so they had to be good at the super sprints, and they had to be really good at the Ironman and half at the same time. You've spent some time on this course. What are your thoughts? Does it suit you?
I think so. I think any course where I get to take advantage of my small size, for aerodynamics and less heat exposure and stuff is going to advantage me a lot. So I'm really happy with it.
So hot and windy is good for you?
I think so.
Yeah,
yeah. I could be wishing for something else on Saturday, but we'll see.
Ashley Gentle is your girlfriend. How do you guys balance that with, both of you? One has a good race, one has a bad race. Both of you have a bad race. How do you deal with that?
Well, we've actually both had our best seasons this year, so we've just been kind of feeding off each other, really. She's unfortunately not here with us, but that's kind of the running theme of this year is we haven't really spent much time together at all. We've both had a coaching change. I've stayed at home in Brisbane. She's moved away to Wollongong with Jamie Turner. And she spent most of the year in Europe or down south in Australia. So
right.
But growing up in triathlon, it's just kind of the way it's always been. Having us been doing 2 different race circuits the last 5-6 years, that's
just the way it is.
Yeah, pretty much.
So Cam Watt is the coach, and what has he changed? What has he helped you with?
I think the most important thing is it's just a hands-on style of coaching. So we actually have a squad in Brisbane now. We call it the Hills District. It's our little enclave in Brisbane. So we have a small bunch of really focused athletes that we're training at the same time every day. There's a lot of structure. Cam's one really positive attribute about Cam is he can really give you good feedback in the session if you're starting to develop bad habits or something like this, and that's something I never really had before this year in terms of coaching.
Right. So when you go into a race like this where you haven't been here before, it's the greatest athletes on the planet, which I'm guessing you like, going head-to-head with guys like that. Do you have specific goals or specific expectations?
I don't really have specific goals. I mean, I didn't come here to make up numbers for sure, so to get like top 10 or top 5 or something would be really satisfying, but I always have to remember that I didn't even intend to be in Kona this year.
This is a little earlier than you planned?
Yeah, definitely. It just happened that I won an Ironman and auto-qualified, so I didn't ever want to be one of these athletes that kind of puts the cart before the horse and starts obsessing about the Ironman World Championships before they've even won an Ironman. So I was fortunate to be able to tick that box, and then we really had no reason not to come. So.
And what the heck, you got some free time. You're going to Island House after this, with a little bit of a vacation.
Yeah.
Nothing better than it's Hawaii. It's not Iceland. It's not a bad place to go in October.
Yeah.
With a lot of these guys who are here, Jan Frodeno, Sebastian Kienle, have you raced most of these guys at this point?
Yeah, of course. I've actually done a lot of training with Sebastian as well, so I've been able to kind of understand the race like from the sidelines a little bit over the years, and I was even racing Jan back when we were both doing short distance. So yeah.
Did it surprise you that when Jan made the move to long distance, how great he became, how quickly?
Not really. I mean, he's
Olympic gold medalist, yeah. Yeah,
for sure, but I think when you follow Jan, you see like the total commitment that he gives to the sport, and it becomes obvious that kind of commitment is the only way you're going to become a champion. So he's definitely raised the bar, and kind of inspired me to try and get much more out of myself as well. And
with Sebi, what'd you learn from training with him?
I think I learned that you can have fun and train hard at the same time.
Yeah.
So definitely we both have a different style of training, and we actually haven't trained together this year much. I don't know if that's because now he's direct competition or anything like this. But
and now you're racing. It's a little different.
We're definitely able to push each other. You know, he's an excellent cyclist and runner, and I can help him with the swimming. So that dynamic has really worked well for us.
So when you look back at when you were 14, as I said, you grew up in the sport. Did you have Aussie heroes in the sport?
Yeah, of course. It's actually like a little bit different because there was no internet or anything back then. I don't recall there was a Breakfast with Bob on Facebook Live in 2004.
Yeah, we had it on Sanddial or something like that. Yeah.
I used to love getting the magazines every month. You know, Triathlon and Multisport magazine was big in Australia in like the 2000s, and of course, following the success of in Kona specifically, Michellie Jones, I remember when she won, that was massive, and then McCormack as well.
Yep.
So
And then
that kind of
and all that.
yeah, definitely. When I was young, those performances opened my eyes to Ironman, certainly, and yeah, that's when I really started to fall in love with the sport.
And you're balancing that Super League and doing Ironman. You still like that variety, the challenge of the variety.
Yeah, I didn't do so well at Super League, so I think I like the thought of it more than I actually like to do the racing. Yeah, that didn't go so well for me this year, just because obviously the short course guys they're so specific to what they're doing, and we are also so specific as Ironman athletes, and we didn't really give it the time to prepare. It was just kind of I got a late invitation, and yeah,
Went for it.
Yeah, too good to turn down at the time. So
Love it.
yeah.
How about a round of applause for Mr. Josh Amberger?
Thanks, Bob.
Poncho Man, take us out.
Big ship sailing on the ocean. I'll say, big ship sailing in the ocean. Breakfast with Bob. Oh, yeah.
And Poncho Man. Thank you, my man.